when I see a comment that somebody made on my page, I have to go and make a major topic, especially when it irks me, or it makes my antennas go up. And one of the comments that I had made was that this guy named David that says that, he making a comment about lazy people and all of that. And he says, and I'm a taxpayer. It's about time. That's, to me, I've heard so many white folks talk about them being a taxpayer, like others don't pay taxes, that others are draining the system off of white people taxes. Yeah, my mama paid taxes, and my mama didn't make nearly as much as what's being happening now. But I guess, I want to spare that myth of black folks and minorities and anybody that's in America that gives a check pay taxes. See, white folks are the only ones that complain about higher taxes and higher food and all the crime and all of that. Let's take, that's how Trump got in office. Other folks were saying, well, you know what? Eggs was $2 or $3, but you know what? They came up with that money. See, most black people and minorities, we already had a hard time struggling. So, them $2, $3 eggs, we just, put it into the budget and stuff. But see, they think that all black folks are getting welfare and food stamps and stuff. We draining the economy. A lot of us are able-bodied people, but we just want to, live off the earth of the land. That we sit around here and we just go and get a food assistance and all of that once a month stuff. So, and housing, so we can live the good life. So we can live equal to you, white people. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we just want to do that. Now we don't have no motivation, despite the fact that there are more black millionaires than ever before. But we don't want to do that. That there are more black businesses than ever before. But now we don't want to do that. See, that's the white myth, being the victim of everything and the suspect of none. See, they quick to say that they're a taxpayer and they want to see where their money's going, because in their mind, their money is not going on the streets, or they're not going on running government. They're not it's the way it's supposed to be, is that they take it right out of their children's pocket, their pocket, and everybody else's pocket, and they give it directly to you. They don't see anything. I ain't never met nobody that's so envious and jealous of folks being poor and giving government assistance than ever before. Than white people. They really talking about, in reality, they're not talking about themselves. They're talking about everybody that's brown. That's what they're talking about. They're not talking about white Americans, because in the red states, there are more white people on government assistance than anything else. But they're not talking about, when they said that you're lazy, able-bodied people, that they was talking about us. They was talking about brown folks. Yeah, this color, or a little bit lighter, or a little bit darker. Yeah, when they talk about crime, they're not talking about that. They're not talking about their crime, their children theft problem, or meth problem, or drug problem. They're talking about mostly us, the brown people. That it's a drug that is coming from Mexico. You brown folks are bringing that stuff in for their white children. Now it's an epidemic, and if it stayed in a black community, it'll be a community problem. But see, white boys are going into black communities, getting that whatever it is, and then they got these white folks that's making all this meth and stuff, and now it's an epidemic. It's a drug problem. Now everybody want to fix the drug problem now. You said, Samantha, why are you in your car talking? Because it's raining outside. That's probably why. Yeah. See, it becomes a problem when it hit the white people house. When drugs been and you know, remember that scene in The Godfather when all the head of the people met and the man said, hey, he said, I don't give, you know, I give my men extra. He said, so they won't have to deal it in the street. He said, stay away from schools and children. He said, give it to the darkies. Let them lose their soul. Did I stutter when I said it? See, sometimes these movies be telling you what really was going on in the era. But see, white folks are the victim. They the victims. Now, you know, they going up to people now. Trump got them where they put that big S on their chest and they go up and they put their hands in your face and they do all of this and all of that. And then when you knock the shit out of one of them, then all of a sudden, oh, I'm going to call the police. Oh. They a victim. They always want to be the victim. You know, they always want to be the victim. They the victim. Bless their heart. They the victim. You know, they the only ones that be afraid of everything else. And if you notice now, since the computer age came up, now they really quick to talk to you crazy on the computer. But they're not to do it in your face. They're not to do that in the face. Because, you know what? Because they the victim. It's because of you that they children didn't go to school, despite the fact that Becky may have been sleeping with the whole school and some of the high school and some of the college people. That Becky couldn't go to college because her decisions was poor and that they were poor and they couldn't afford college. Ain't that something? I know a lot of Hispanics that you know that was poor and they kids couldn't go to college, and you know what they did? They worked just as hard to send their kids to college. I know one personally, a black woman that put six kids through high school. Some went to college on a fast food thing. Oh, and she had to pay taxes. Come on. But they're the victim. They're always the victim. They have never been the suspect. You know, when you bring up slavery and tell them that, you know what, it's time for blacks to have reparation. Oh, y'all need to let it go. Y'all need to go on. Y'all need to move on with that and stuff. But then they go to crying and stuff because now they wanted to know where their money, where their taxpayers going. Well, now you don't have to. It ain't far for you to look. Just call Washington. When Trump get on that plane every weekend to go to his golf course, you know what? Fuel costs, personnel costs, things cost, security costs. So that's what you're paying for. That's what you're paying for now. See, I would rather have a better streets than to know that this man is driving, you know, he going up to his own thing to do his golfing. Or when he go to Saudi Arabia or all them other countries, he's not trying to bring gas prices down, which they're going up. He's trying to do him a business deal. He more concerned about getting a jet that we're going to have to fund to renovate. Or better yet, he gutted out a rose garden that's been decades beautiful to make the White House look like some ghetto and sanctuary. So that's where your money been. Let's go with that. Let's go with that. See, black folks, you know, that's their myth. That, you know, black folks don't work, we don't contribute to none. Our Mexicans don't work, they don't contribute to none. Everybody's draining the economy except white folks. White folks don't drain the economy. You know, in my old video, I talked about how bankruptcy really became involved because before then, white folks was going to buy, taking American Express, you know, because they can get credit. Back then, they could have got credit better than what we could have gotten. And they used to go get the American Express, and they used to go and get a house, cars, boats, all that other good stuff. And then soon that bill came, they went and filed bankruptcy. And it was wiped off because, you know, it was an unsecured debt. But then Black folks got wind to it and started doing it too, and then they had to make Chapter 13 and all these new bank laws. But you already know that. You already know. You already know. You know, it's sad that a race who have been privileged, who you know, privileged, who able to get better housing. You know, some black folks, when they have to sell their house, they have to take all their black pictures down so their house won't be undermined. Or better yet, a black person who's qualified, or Hispanic person, or minority, I'm going to say minority, who's qualified for a job, has to be sometimes taking a back seat because they don't want to, you know, they don't want to give their job to somebody that's qualified. They rather give it to somebody unqualified. Yeah. You know, I talk about this time I worked at a bank called First Tennessee, and me and this black girl was applying for a proof operator. I was in my 20s then. And they kept telling us they were going to give us the job. And then they ended up hiring this, you know, this white boy who was getting ready to be fired. They moved him over in our department and then told us that we didn't get the job. We were qualified, perfect attendance. Our error rate was less than 1%. That girl taught me. How to, we were, you know, and in case you didn't know what a proof operator was, that's back then when you used to get the checks and you used to see all them numbers in the back and then you saw the balance. That's what we had to do. And we had to be proficient with it. We could not make no errors. There was no room for errors. So we had to type that in and we had to look at the check and type it in at the same time. Yeah, we had to have over 10,000 keystrokes. Yeah, that was back in the day. But they didn't want to hire us to do the job. They didn't want to hire us for that position because we was temp. So what better way to do it is that they didn't want to fire the white boy who had an absentee problem. He had an issue in one of the departments. They just moved him over there where we was and then told us, you know, hey, I need for you to, it was coming down the pipeline that we might have to train this boy. So the girl quit. But see, Samantha, I didn't think it was going to happen until that day it happened. And they asked me to train him. No, I just went to lunch and never went back. So, you know, when you sit here and you talk about white privilege, like when I used to worked at a temp at Shoney's in the bookkeeping department, and how when I walked in, here I am, some young black woman with no kids, and I dressed nice. Back then we used to wear stockings to work. And how all them women had their purses on their desk, ended up putting them in their drawer in their desk and locking it up like I was gonna steal. See, this is the stereotype that's gonna kill America. It ain't that, you know. I mean, they don't want you to believe that this is true. They're gonna come out and say, no, we're worried about the economy. No, you're not. You're the victim. You played the victim. You've always played the victim. You always. And your head in chief is doing it now. When he didn't win. He didn't say, you know what, it was a fair election. It should be, you know, I need to concede and move on. No. He blamed everybody else. He's blaming Obama for some stuff he did. He's blaming Biden for some stuff he did. When that lady told him that it was just 19,000 jobs created and that was minus 258,000 jobs fewer, he didn't want to believe that, so he fired her. Because y'all, that's what y'all do. Many of you white folks do that. You're the victim. That's how you can relate to Trump. Fake news. Because you're the victim. You're never the accuser. When somebody talk about racism, you get mad. Because it's you. You don't understand. It's you. No, you wouldn't know what it was when your son is racially profiled or denied at college or better yet have to apply for financial aid. You don't understand that. You don't understand if your son get pulled over by the police. Or better yet, if he's driving a certain car to get pulled over by the police. You don't understand that. Or better yet, you never had a job where you were denied because of your color. Or better yet, you had to do better than the person because of your color. Because you're the victim. It's nobody else. You're the victim. And until you become the suspect, like I said, you stole the land from the Native Americans, but you're the victim, and they ain't got the nerve to tell somebody to go back somewhere. You're the victim. You're the victim. But y'all finna see how many whites see, because that vote that you did, it wasn't for because of the eggs and groceries. Because if that was true, then shit, you shouldn't be eating that. It shouldn't be no more fat white people in America in the next 60 days or 90 days. You know why? Because if that was so true about the eggs and the bacon, as soon as them tariffs started going up on that food, you would have went and clowned. But now you want to be the victim. Because everybody, you are happy that you upset that somebody is able to, you're too busy looking at somebody else's backyard to realize you don't know how they got that stuff. But you thinking that because they black, they lazy, that's what you're thinking. They black, they lazy. How they get that house? They must been doing something illegal. How they get this? They must be selling drugs. How they do that? Oh, they must be getting government assistance. He ain't never worked. Maybe something is wrong with him. Maybe something. You're too busy looking at somebody else's yard to reflect on yours. That's the demise right there. I'm going to be honest. I think this is a perfect opportunity for black and brown and all of that to get together and start running this country. Because apparently white folks is running it to the ground. Some of you white folks are running it to the ground. Look at it. Somebody made fun of Trump, and Trump went and put American subs near Russia, trying to start a war. Petty as shit, but y'all don't care about that. All here and sit here and touch the little girls and everything. Touch them where they messed up in the mind. They killing themselves. They talking about it, but y'all don't want to hear that because you know what? You can't conceive. You the victim. You the victim. They ain't the victim. You the victim. Because you trying so hard with so much hate to get rid of brown folks, because you figured what? Brown folks are making it easy, making it harder for you to live. Don't nobody tell you to go get all them damn credit cards and try to live your image, trying to live that big, beautiful image when you know you couldn't. Husband working 2 or 3 jobs, working long hours, and he away from home, and both of y'all having these 2.7 kids or these 4.8 kids and stuff, and trying to look good and try to make folks think that y'all got a beautiful marriage when y'all husband is struggling in debt, and he thinking about oofing you because he tired of being in debt, and he trying to find a way to get out of it. He don't want to file bankruptcy and look bad, so what he do? He thinking about getting rid of you. See, black women brown people, we don't do this. See, our husband tell her, look here, you better put that back. We can't afford that. That ain't in the budget. What's wrong with you? We ain't finna go do that. Most black folks say, look, you better put that back. No, I ain't finna get no car. No, you better go get that car fixed. What's wrong with that car? We can't afford no new car. We're struggling. I got a 20-year-old car. I love this car. Keep it up. No, I ain't trying. No. Let something major happen. I ain't trying to get no. You white folks have to have an image. And see, that's how most black folks get caught up. Trying to live that, and Hispanics trying to live that American dream of having that beautiful house and that beautiful this and all these perfect kids in the back room plotting and playing that how, not only how they gonna get rid of you, or they gonna go to school and get rid of some more folks. But y'all the victims. Y'all the victims, the white American victims. I saw orb. But like I said, it's all about you. That's why Trump got in office so good. He know y'all. That's why Project 2025 is in office. And I'm going to tell you something. It may be set out to hurt the brown folks. But see, one thing about, you got to remember, white people. We ain't never been handed nothing on a silver platter. Whether we got it or not, all of us have had to work like a dog to get it and keep it. You, on the other hand, that's all I'm going to say. Happy Sunday.